Most people have the wrong idea about accountability, and it's why they stay stuck in their business longer than they need to. You see, you've been looking for the wrong kind of accountability and partnering with people who are offering the wrong kind of accountability. You've been looking for people to hold you accountable to your actions instead of accountable to your identity. Identity comes from the Greek idem, I-D-E-M, which means the same. And it comes from the Hebrew, which means oneness. So I always pose the question, who is your identity the same as or one with? And when it comes to business, who is your identity aligned with? Most people have their identity aligned with a worldly timeline where there is fear, there's anxiety, there's doubt, there's striving, and there's surviving. But what you want to do is you want to align with God's kingdom timeline and the way that God sees you. But so many of us are trained to only have the kind of accountability that is of the world and not the kind of accountability that is of the Lord. When you are only accountable for your actions, you are not accountable for who you are when you're taking those actions. So true accountability won't just challenge your actions. They'll challenge who you are when you're taking those actions. And that is the kind of accountability that is going to get you unstuck in your business. Because let's be real, there's no shortage of information out there to know what kind of action to take. You know exactly what to do, but you're not doing it. So you have to ask the question, if I know what to do, why am I not doing it? This is a becoming question, meaning, are you the kind of person that can take that kind of action? So let's say you're consistently posting content and you're pumping out a lot of content. Well, that's great. There's accountability for you getting it done. But the kind of accountability that you really need is, who are you when you're posting? Are you trying to prove yourself? Are you seeking validation? Are you desiring your audience to like you? Are you trying to say words and use words so people buy from you? So you're not coming through with a genuine heart of service. And it doesn't mean that you don't want to serve people. You do. But there's a part of us, the ego part of us, that starts to seep in where we can only look to serve ourselves. That's got to take a back seat when it comes to creating an online business and growing your brand through content. You've got to look to serve your people. So when you only have the kind of accountability that checks the box that you've posted today, did you post your 3 to 5 reels? Did you post your one weekly YouTube video? Or did you go live on YouTube every day? Did you post your 5 shorts or whatever people are telling y'all out there? Checking the box of if you did that versus asking the question, what part of you are you still holding back in your message? What part of you is still trying to make people like you so you're not fully telling the truth in your content? You're wearing a filter. There's a part of you that you don't want people to see because there's a part of you that's still insecure. So this is what I mean when I say identity. Are you showing up to prove yourself, or are you showing up with courage and just knowing already that God has placed an assignment on your life? He's going to give you the words and he's going to attune your audience's ears to hear you. So we have to be really mindful of what it means to be accountable. When we take certain actions, actions are aligned with levels of identity. When you are taking the kind of action that you need to prove yourself, you're trying to get your audience to believe something about you that you don't yet believe about yourself. When you're in that space of trying to do that, the identity that you have is the identity of the world. Everything that the world tells you that you aren't. You've got that fear seeping in. You've got that doubt seeping in. And so now you're taking action from a small place, a very, I just lost my word. What's the word I'm looking for? A very timid place, a place of, I don't know if this is going to work for me, a place of, I don't know if I can do this. And so you're checking the box of taking action, but yet in the back of your mind, there is so much doubt. And I get it. You're never going to feel ready. And so you got to take the action anyways. However, you can always take action, but not every action that you take will compound over time to change the circuitry in your brain, to change the chemical processing in your body as you take these actions. And so there's no amount of action that is going to override the identity. What you're actually going to do is create more distance between your identity and the action that you're taking. Because you're taking action that is outside of your current belief about yourself, and you'll keep doing it, and you're almost chasing an identity, but you don't feel like that person already. So all you're doing is you're making this gap that's inside of you feel even bigger than it already is. And then you try to look to fill that gap with more accountability, more quick fix, more hacks, more strategies. And this is why you feel like you know what to do, but yet you're not doing it because you're making that void bigger. The reason why my coaching program is set up the way that it's set up is not just the strategy. It's because I was at a point in my business one time where all I was doing was taking action. And I know you and I are similar. We're taking massive action, but yet nothing is happening. And it looks like you're doing it all. Everything is happening on the inside of you, meaning you're taking all that action, but nothing has changed. Your reality isn't any different. And what you're feeling is more separation from you and the goal. And you start living in the gap. There's a really great book by Dr. Benjamin Hardy called The Gap and the Gain. And it's all about, where are you living? Are you living in the gap where you can only see the things you haven't done, only see the things that are bad, if you will? Or are you living in the gain where you can actually see your progress? You can see the accomplishments that you've made. So it's important that you understand where it is you are spending your time, in the gap or in the gain. But every time you take massive amounts of action to try to outpace your identity, you're never catching up because you can never truly outpace your identity. It's why you feel burned out. It's why you'll get tired. It's why you'll feel like, man, I've been doing this for so long. It's why you feel fatigued. It's also why you feel weary. And God tells us, let us not get weary in well-doing. We have to learn how to abide in him so we can start to really adopt the identity in which he sees you. And ask him, God, how do you see me? How do you see me? What words would you use to describe me? And write that down in your journal. My pastor always says, put a date on it, right? And every day you ask yourself that question and you go back to him and you say, Lord, what is it that you want to tell me about myself? Because once you start asking him questions and you're talking to him, he's going to start revealing things about you that you didn't even know was there. He's going to start revealing things about you that are going to blow your mind. And you're going to realize that you've been hanging on to a lot of false identities, a lot of identities that other people have given you, a lot of identities that are worldly, that are wrapped up in the ego, wrapped up in a certain kind of lifestyle that you think you're supposed to have, this prove it energy, this look at me energy, being very self-serving within your content, looking to get the attention of people rather than to serve the people. And again, hear my heart when I say this. I'm not saying that you don't want to impact them and you don't want to serve them. But what I am saying is we don't realize what's in our heart. We have no idea what's in our heart until he starts revealing it. And it's why so many of you feel like there's this invisible barrier in your business and you're perpetuating your stuckness. You're never actually really stuck, but it feels that way because there's separation between you and the creator. And so when you live for the world in your business, there is so much prove it. There's lack of conviction when you're with the world because the world will put you into feeling like you got to compare yourself. But when you're walking with the Lord and he's become the CEO of your business and your life, you start to understand the moves that you can make. You move with courage. You move with a level of certainty. You move with a conviction. You move with an oomph. You move like you know who's carrying you. You move like you know because you're playing on a winning team. He's already won. So there's nothing to worry about. But when that doubt creeps in, it's because your head's been turned towards the world and your head has not yet been turned towards the Lord. And I get it. We're going to be on this journey forever, 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 ever. We're always going to be on this journey, right? And so the world's going to try to come in, the enemy's going to try to come in, and our head might shift for a bit, but it's why we have to stay in him. It's why we have to stay in him so we don't get sucked in. We can always remember, and then we repent, and then he's going to come back and he's going to let us know what we need to change, what we need to fix, how we need to heal, what it is we need to do, the next move that we need to make. And you might think this has nothing to do with business when I'm talking about identity, but business is about systems. Business is about taking consistent action, but business is about belief. Business is about belief. The number one reason why people don't actually achieve their goal is because they don't believe that they can. Simple as that. When you believe you can, you are going to take massive action. And you're going to take massive action with the undertone that this is happening. Even when it looks like nothing is working, even when it looks like the money's not coming in and the clients aren't coming in, you're going to know that this is happening because you're already on a winning team. So many of us are in a season right now to trust. We're being trained to trust what God says, not what we see. We're always in that season. But I think for a lot of people, it's heightened right now because he's moving and he's moving fiercely in a lot of people. I truly believe he's just emerging new leadership. There are always seasons for everything. God moves in seasons. And I really feel like there's just this up leveling of a lot of people right now. So I really want you to pay attention to, how do you feel when you are creating your content? How do you feel in your business? Are you hiding? Are you trying to hold back? Are you just hoping that people understand you without having to say too much or share too much or not be vulnerable? And I'm not talking about coming on here and sharing every nook and cranny, but can you turn what you've been through into a lesson? Can you turn what you've been through into a perspective shift for your audience? Can you turn what you've been through into insight that your audience can't Google? When you can do that, now you're gaining impact, you're gaining influence. Now you're changing the perspective of what your audience is thinking. That's the kind of accountability that you need to have. And it's honestly why my program is the strategy, but it's also the transformation of who you are. Because I already know you can't do this if you don't have your identity at a set point with him. Because it's set right now, but it's set for mediocre. It's set for below the standard that you truly desire to live from. And you're better than that. And you know that you're better than that. And that's why you feel like you're frustrated. Because you can tell and you can sense when you're operating one way, but you feel a different way. It's because the identity is not calibrated to a deep level of belief, which matches him. So who is your identity the same as or one with? This even includes pricing. It's not just about content, but it even comes down to your pricing. When it comes to the prices that you charge, many people want to raise their rates, raise their prices, get paid more. But deep down, they don't believe in the value that they truly provide. They don't believe that people will actually pay them that. So they might be saying it, I charge X amount of dollars. They might put that in their call to action on Instagram in a story cell. They might drop the price in the YouTube description box. They might say something, but deep down, they're really hiding. They're thinking, nobody's going to pay me that. They're thinking, I don't know, I really hope someone pays me. They're saying it, but they're not believing it in their body. You've got to get your body to calibrate to the words that are coming out of your mouth. And that's why there's the disconnect with you and your audience, because you're saying the words, but they can feel the energy of your body. There's something off about what this person is saying. People can sense that. It's why when people say, I'm sorry, you know if they're sorry or not. It's easy. They have a tone in which they say it. There's a essence about them. There's a sense that you pick up if that person is lying or if that person is really sincere with their sorry. So content is the same way. Building your personal brand through content is the exact same way. And so the accountability that just checks your box isn't getting you where you desire to go. And it's why your business continues to remain stuck, because you need the accountability of your identity. Who is it that you are really identifying with, and learning how to turn down the shade of all of the worldly identity and turn up the lamp and the light of the Lord and how He is seeing you. I can't tell you enough how much that has changed my business. And I'm still developing my identity in the Lord. This is a walk, this is a journey. By no means do I want you to think it's all perfect, but there's a deep sense of peace. There's a deep sense of things are always working, things are always working out. And I never have to guess if something is working for me. I know it's working for me because He's working with me. I'm working with Him. We are partnered together. He runs this whole show. He helps me with the words that come through my mouth. He helps me with the topics that I come up with. I ask, Lord, what is on my audience's hearts right now? Yeah, I've got a whole content strategy, a whole content system and engine, sure. But there are those moments where I can feel there's a tug to go in a different direction. So I'm not obedient to a content pillar. I'm obedient to Him. And if something needs to change, something needs to change. Like this video right here on accountability. This was not in my usual plan. It wasn't in my content calendar to make this particular video. But I am, because there was something about accountability that kept coming to me. And I realized there's a different level of accountability, whether it's action-based or identity-based. And what most people are lacking is identity-based accountability. And it's literally why my program, Content Legacy, exists, because you will get both. So I trust that this video serves you and blesses you. Share this with a business bestie. I will post the link down below to apply for Content Legacy if you're ready to build your business, build your brand, gain more visibility through content, and not just strategically, but shift your identity as you do it. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.